Hey everybody, welcome to Shit I Love with Jason Stuart with my guest Shang or Shang Forbes. I'm not
Shang
sure.
Forbes. Yeah.
You're Shang Forbes now.
Yes.
One of my I have to say you're one of my closest comedy buddies.
Oh, okay. That's
I feel I don't know when we met or how we met or what happened. I feel like you've always been in my life as a comedian. And when I call you, you always call me back.
So yeah, no,
and in that business it means a lot.
Yes, but I know where I met you.
Tell me.
I met you at the Improv in Hollywood. I was talking to actually Carol Leifer. And
oh my God!
Yeah, I was talking to Carol Leifer.
Well, for those at home, Carol Leifer was basically the I guess the girlfriend who is what Elaine is based on Seinfeld.
Yes,
and turned out to be a lesbian, which I think is incredibly funny and interesting. Yeah. And an incredibly I would call her. She also writes the Oscars, but what I would call her is a really dry, brilliant comedian.
Right.
You know what I mean? She's got this thing that she does, and she doesn't try to compete with other people. She does.
She's in her own lane.
She does her own shit.
I was talking to her, and Rob Schneider was there.
Oh my God!
And I was talking to them, and then we were all in one circle, and then that's when I met you.
Really?
Yes.
God, I don't remember. I must have.
You're getting me?
No, it's just so long ago.
No, I do. Completely.
I was always so nervous being at the Improv because it was so hard to get in, number one.
Yeah. I mean,
and it was also, there were so many famous, great people. I was there quite a bit in the 90s. That was my real big time.
Right. Being
there. I still work on occasion, but mostly because you or somebody else will put me on their show.
Yeah, I'm there very infrequently. I just don't go there as much because luckily I've been, running around working.
You are a road whore, basically. So let me tell the folks at home, Shang is probably one of the most popular independent
I'm doing okay.
stand-up comedians who has been a headliner for probably over 20 years.
Yeah.
Same as me. We're both in the same age group, the same sort of class in terms of our notoriety, but yet you really have broken ground in terms of being a person of color in comedy, but not playing to the masses in a way that seems stereotypical or unoriginal.
Well,
you know what I mean?
I fluctuate. I fluctuate.
You're your own thing.
Yeah, well, no, that part, but I do fluctuate because I think that I let the industry sometimes get in my head.
Oh, we all do.
And I think that I try to, not only dumb myself down, but I try to be a little bit more innocuous so I'll fit into their
but it doesn't really work, does it?
No. So, but then I go back to what is pure and what really works for me. And I think that the same thing with me acting wise. Sometimes what I'll do is I have a tendency to act in a way I think the industry would feel instead of feeling the script and letting it breathe the way it's supposed to.
And that's because you've been here a long time.
Right. So,
what's your number?
What do you mean?
I've been in the business.
30.
30. 42.
Yes. So.
Isn't it? And I hate to tell you.
30.
I'm starting to be honest about the years.
I don't.
You're much better than me.
Yeah, you know why? I'm gonna tell you why.
Because you got a girl and you got kids and.
Well, not just that. I wouldn't say just.
You got a great girl.
Well, so
great
far.
woman, I say.
Well, she has a hard time with the business side of it. I think because of the hours and getting home at 2 a.m, and a lot of times when she's coming home, I'm leaving, or if when I was doing, I did a independent movie, and I was literally gone. I came home for a week, and then they had me reshoot. They had to have me reshoot some stuff, so I had to fly out again. So we saw each other in a month, maybe 2 days, and that wears on her. And I think that's been our thing.
That's the reason Jennifer Aniston I read in People just broke up with her guy.
Really?
Yeah, she's the same exact reason. He wanted to live in New York. He liked to be on the streets. He wanted the people. She liked to be in Los Angeles. She likes to stay at home. She doesn't want to be around the people. I mean, it's just, but sometimes it makes the relationship more exciting, too, because when you see each other,
it's great. But it's been wearing on her. I think. And it's not like, hey, I hate you, I hate you. It's just like she didn't know it was going to be like this. She thought it would be a little bit more exciting, and it's not.
The show business of it?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
She thought it would be more exciting.
Because now she can see the seams and what goes on. It's not that...
Or I'm like reading for something and I'm not paying attention to her. And so that bothers her. Because sometimes if I'm... Like, I'm not as much for commercials, but...
When you have an audition for something and you're really working hard on it.
I work on that and I have attention.
Oh, sometimes I work on it for 2 days.
And I shut... And my friends have told me that, especially my friends in New York, said that I kind of shut people out sometimes when I'm into that mode. When I was working on the special, I kind of was just focused on that. But it's not good though.
No, you got to find a medium.
Right, and
you got to be present.
I still haven't learned that.
But I don't think that people understand the truly amount of focus it takes to do what we do, whether it be stand up or acting, and to totally not, feel what's going on the outside to take away.
Because sometimes I let it take away. All right, like you said, I let the industry get in my head. I let my family get in my head. I've actually thought about when my family thought I was an idiot for doing stand-up and quitting my job. And
what was your job? What did you do?
Oh, I was working at graphics, Leon Ludovici's graphic company. And I did stuff for JCPenney.
That's why your posters are so great.
That's why
I wish you would do a poster for me.
I did posters and stuff.
Yours you do in 20 seconds, I'm sure.
Now I can do it. But I think that industry-wise, lately, stand-up-wise, I've let all that go. But acting-wise, I haven't. Like, acting-wise, I still feel like...
Well, because you've done more stand-up than you have acting. That's why. It's just... And I talk to people about this all the time in terms of time.
Right.
And I'm really starting to embrace that and saying, okay, so my best friend Alexandra Paul was on Baywatch for 5 years.
Wow.
That means she did 20, 30, at least 100 episodes.
Right.
So there's no way that you and I can catch up on that.
Right.
At our age right now.
No.
The odds that we get a series that's on for 5 years and we do 20, 25 episodes a year
are slim.
Are slim because, number one, they don't even do that half the time now.
They do 6 to 6 now.
6 and sometimes 10, or sometimes maybe if you're on a network you do 18.
Right.
But that's it.
Right.
So having that on you is something that you just have to come to grips with, and hey, that's not me. I'm not going to feel as comfortable as they do. I worked on movies with people who, Armie Hammer certainly really taught me something because he has a great work ethic. When I worked on Birth of a Nation with him, is the fact that he just was so present and so able to be and know what was right for him and do his work, whether he felt inadequate or not, or whether he felt great that day or not.
Right.
And I thought, we don't have that. We do as stand-ups because the hours that we have in stand-up, you just can't, basically, there's no way to compete. People can compete with us in the terms of that.
Right.
When you do that, they just can't.
But acting-wise, I think for me, I enjoy plays. I think, and that goes back to stand-up because the immediate interaction when I can hear the audience gasp, if it's a drama or if it's something funny, it's immediate. So I've gravitated to some of that for a while, but now with online, because I've been doing a lot more independent stuff, the online stuff is awesome.
What have you been doing online?
Yeah, no, I just did a movie called The Bill, and it's basically about following money from rich people to poor people to, drug dealers to, the whole gambit. And not only am I the voice of the Bill, because the Bill is the narrator. Oh. So I'm the narrator, and I'm actually in the movie in one of the scenes where a cashier exchanges money, but the money actually came from just selling women. So you don't know where money
I love that.
Yeah, so I did that, and it was like...
Who is behind it? Who are the people, and how can folks watch it?
Oh, no, it's going to be out September.
On what platform?
Oh, independent, all the indie. It's called Indies. So, I mean, for me, the company's name is Molotov, and they like to do really edgy, kind of underground movies that you see like late night on Showtime, and and I like that because one, there's a little bit of a freedom on the acting side. It's not as much for the casting side. They go more for who fits this role, not who has a million Instagram followers.
I think it's really interesting. They're open to the idea of, because I've done a lot of independent films, as you know, too.
Yeah.
You were in Trunked a couple years ago, and that was a big, big hit. Who was in that?
All comics from, it looked like they went to Comedy Central and said, let's get every quirky white comic we could find.
Really?
And
you?
And me. And I got it because they saw me at the Funny Bone in Omaha.
Oh my God, I used to do that club.
They saw me there and they said, you really could do this role. And I said, well, send me the sides. I read for it. I actually videotaped myself, read it.
Dan Cummins was in that?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I'm looking at the
you
IMDb.
See how those are all comics that are, you know.
Mm-hmm. Eddie Patton, yeah.
Yeah, and you know, it was fun because there was a lot of comics on the set. So I was laughing a lot when we were down, so that was good.
Well, it's like in the old days of television, people would say, "Oh, I like that guy. I want him in it." I hear these stories. I love reading biographies about people that are sort of famous but not really famous. Like I'm reading Mary Louise Wilson's bio right now.
She's famous to me.
Yeah, she's to me too, but she's not famous like
famous. Like,
she's not like.
Does that sound like childish? Famous.
She's not Denzel Washington famous,
right.
You know. So she talks about, hey, I just did this audition and somebody saw me and they said, I want that girl in it. And she was in it. And that's the way it happened.
Wow. Yeah.
You know, it's not like 50 people have to decide and they have
right.
to send a thing and then it gets watered down and watered down. We want Shang, but we want him taller. We want him thinner. We want him fatter. We want the Shang that's not 10 years younger. You know, and they're trying to fit into some idea. That's like those Chicago shows.
Right.
All of them are people. It doesn't matter what color they are. They all look like Barbie and Ken. Older Barbie and Ken, younger Barbie and Ken, black Barbie and Ken, Asian Barbie and Ken. I mean, you know.
Where at Independence, it just seems like it's a little bit different.
And they'll say, God, I love this person in this movie.
And that's it.
And that's it.
And so that's one of the reasons, too, creatively. And at least with some of the directors I work with, this guy, Ben Wilson, I work with, who was really cool. He lets the actors, like, we'll do, you know, straight to script, and then he goes, I want you for the just
riff.
Just play.
Well, you look at our friend Tiffany Haddish. And
we were exactly talking about she's a big star now.
Because she's spent 20 years playing this part of who she was as a child, basically.
Right.
And she's kept this character going. And I remember thinking years when I first saw her, God, honey, you got to pull it back. You can't just do this one thing. And I kept thinking to myself that, you know, when I'd see her, I'd say, people are going to see you only playing this one part. And Malcolm Lee, wanted her for this part. I mean, she is literally 10 years younger than all the women in the film.
And
you know,
they're
supposed to all going to college. We don't care, you know. And I was watching some stuff the other night because we were talking about it. I went on YouTube, and she talked about how every day she would just be so excited, and she'd bring in notes to the director and say, hey, I want to do this, I want to do that. Can I add this in? Can I add this in? And they did it because they gave her the opportunity to play this character that she understood so well.
Right. And I'll give you an example. When I was doing the Jamie Foxx show. And he would.
This was his sitcom years ago, right?
Sitcoms, yeah.
He had a sitcom that was very popular in the 90s after In Living Color.
After Living Color.
Yeah.
And I did that, and that was, again, another situation where it was Jamie's call who said, you know, now let's riff. Whatever funny
Damon Wayans used to do the same thing on My Wife and Kids.
Yeah, see, so I think that's better. And then you look at Will Ferrell, who I love. I love Will Ferrell. Comedic.
Genius.
He's just on another. So if you watch him in movies, when he plays, he's hilarious, and you can see that he's playing. You can see the enjoyment of it. I think sometimes acting for me, I used to lose the fun of it. You know, does that make sense?
Oh my God, yeah, because it was scary.
Yeah.
Because you had to fit in this box, and especially if you're a comedian.
Yeah.
It's really hard because they want you to do it fast, just like that.
Right.
And they want you to do it their way and their beats.
Right.
I remember being on Will and Grace, and they had all these stuff they want you to do, and they'd stop, and they wanted you to do it, these lines in this way they saw you, and with all these adjectives and all these references, and they'd want to do it in 2 seconds. And I remember being such a nervous wreck.
Right.
And I was on an episode with Glenn Close, and I don't know whether she said this or I made this up in my mind, but she was sitting out to the side, and she looked like, oh my God, if they change this dialogue one more time, I'm going to kill myself. I'm a 4-time Academy Award nominated actress.
Well,
I can't take this shit.
And
then she got Emmy nominated for the episode.
Really?
Yeah.
See, for me, I think that like when I've watched you like do drama, there's a difference. Okay. I think that you don't realize the gravity, like you have gravitas, but sometimes I don't think you realize you do.
I don't realize anything.
But
you're right.
You have to stop.
I was talking to Ida Rodriguez on the phone, who's one of my dear friends, and you know her well.
No, yeah.
And she said the same thing to me today. So I learn every single day to be more grateful, to realize where I've been, and the same with you. I mean, you were one of the kindest men that I've ever met. You really understand the journey.
Right.
Your stand-up career, to me, has been electric. I remember the time I fell in love with you. We co-headlined some college gig somewhere, and it was the two of us. And I don't know if you remember this, but at the time I was kicking ass in colleges, and they wanted me to close, and I said, no way. And they said, and that's because I learned that it's not about who's funnier. It's about the way the show should go, or
energy, or
yes, and who your audience is,
right?
And when you're a gay Jewish guy, and when you're a person of color comedian, and there's a male who's heterosexual,
right? You
should always close. And the reason is because they know you. They don't know me still, and I'm not your stereotypical gay guy comedian. I'm not, I'm not all girl productions,
but
I'm not. So if they don't know me as well, so I will change. I will have other things happen, and we did the show, and the show went really well, and I also learned that you will just go until you completely turn these people around. You turn that whole room into a whole different thing. This was a very multi-group of people. This was I think the diversity bullshit department, which was, and how we used to get our jobs.
The name, the diversity bullshit department.
And you just,
that was in big bold print. The diversity bullshit department.
And you just took the stage and did your own thing. And I remember this is when I just fell in love and thought, this guy is just terrific.
No,
and I wanted to work with you all the time. And
I'm doing okay.
I thought we were just this great combination of strange and completely stranger.
You know what?
That's the name of our show. It can be Strange and Stranger.
Netflix, you gotta call them.
Yeah.
But right now, stand-up wise, I feel more free. Like I went for a read, and the one that kind of exhausted me, I went for The Soloist. With Robert Downey Jr.
We talked about this on my other show, yes.
And that kind of exhausted me because to come in 7 times for something where the casting person is like literally pushing for you, and you think, okay, first it's 16 people in the room, 16 people waiting to read for you.
No, honey. First it was 1,000 people that had their agent submitting them for this, and then another 1,000 who submitted it independently, just actors through those. Right. And then then it got down to the 20 people in they called it, and then it got down to the 16, and then it got down to the 5, and then it got down to the 2, and then it got down to you against a very famous person.
And I just think that
the idea of that is just incomprehensible. I tried to explain that to my mom the other day.
What?
How many people wanted this part?
And then the fact that I didn't get it, but the cast, she was so good.
Who was it? Say her name. I'll look it up while you talk. Go ahead.
I can't remember her name. It's been a while.
Because
I might have shut it out because it was like, the kind of shit is this? But no, I think it.
Who got the part?
The actor that was from True Blood. He's the actor that.
Oh, he's the guy that passed away.
Yes.
Oh. Yeah. See, he didn't need that credit.
How dark was that?
Oh, very. But that's us, right?
No, but he was good in it though. So when I saw it, I went, he was really good in it, and I know I brought a different nuance to it, and I thought I brought more of a realistic nuance because I actually, had been in that situation.
Octavia Spencer was in the movie too.
So for me, that was one of the things that made me just kind of go back to stand up and just go, because I was really trying to get more acting roles. And it made me go back to stand up because I thought, you can't dictate this to me. And also because of social media, I can actually navigate.
Francine Maisler. Oh my God.
7 times I read for her.
She is probably one of the biggest in the business. And to have her like you?
7 times.
I'd be calling her every 5 minutes.
She called me back in twice for 2 other things that she said that she thinks I might be kind of right for, which I didn't get, but she was like, I want him to come in anyway. And I think the other thing was because some people saw me at the Aspen Comedy Festival, they kind of pigeonhole comics when it comes to dramatic. And then when she saw that I actually could bring that intensity and bring, the weight.
Well, I think it's easier for comedians to do drama than it is for
Comic
dramatic people to do comedy.
I you know why I don't? I used to think that until I saw, even though they played it straight, Meet the Fuckers, and in Meet the Fuckers, I just thought
who? De Niro?
Yeah.
Yeah, but De Niro plays a character.
But he was hilarious.
But he plays a character.
And there was
another
movie,
the way in. That's
King of Comedy.
Oh yeah, but that's how he gets into it. I don't know him personally. I met him once because Ada Rodriguez again was in The Comedians, and we went to the screening, and I went with her as her date, and he was there, and he was very shy, very quiet, but when he gets up and says something, about politics, he'll just say what. He's in his 70s now; he doesn't give a shit. But he's always been a quiet guy. But I think that's the way you get into it through character, through doing a funny character. And that's the way most dramatic actors do it. If you're not funny, you don't have that thing.
But he made me. I laughed at both of them. I laughed when
that whole Meet the Fockers is probably one of the funny.
Right, but actually, it was Dustin Hoffman and
Barbra Streisand's
characters who made me laugh the most, by far.
Because we knew them.
Yeah,
we knew this couple.
Yeah, I love them. But I think
inappropriate, completely over the top. This, and they seem to have so much joy. They knew each other. I didn't know from New York when they were the kids.
So they to me that was
they were in the same acting class at one time. Yeah,
but
they're all around the same age.
Well, I'm going to turn it around and ask you, which one do you prefer? Do you like comedic acting or dramatic?
I don't care.
See,
I want to work with the most talented people, and I want to work on projects that mean something to me. Where the writing that's what I really, really want to do. Because it doesn't matter whether it's comedic or dramatic. If I'm working with really great fucking people, I'm excited, and I would be as excited to work with De Niro as I would be to work with, Will Ferrell or.
I would be,
because I'm invited to the party.
I'd be more excited with Will Ferrell.
Not me. They would be equally in different ways. I mean, I'd want to work with, I've always wanted to work with Spike Lee because I think he does things completely different.
Yeah.
And his films
everybody said it.
Yeah, his films are, original. I'm hoping he gets on track and does something that really is his passion project. I feel like he's a little off track.
When was the last one that?
Was Chi-Town or Chirac.
Chirac, yeah.
And I thought that was really original.
But he used a lot of real, hardcore street cats.
Well, he had to, because that language was almost shit. You had to be able to do rap in that way.
Yeah, so, I was like, somebody said, did you want to read for it? I'm like, I don't know if I'd get a shot at that.
Roger Gaynor Smith is a friend, and he had done tons of his movies, hadn't done one for years, and got a call to do that. And he has the chops to be able to go into that place.
Right. But comedic acting, I have more fun. Dramatic acting,
you've done some really big shows. You've done CSI, you've done Heroes, you've done NCIS, you've done what I call the residual shows.
Yes, I do get a lot of residuals.
Yes, and you've been in those, and
it was a decent. It wasn't like a shitty role. It was like, okay,
it doesn't matter if it's a shitty role, but you're still going to get that same residual check.
Yeah, still the checks are going to be the same.
Not going to change. But the residuals don't go, oh, I'm sorry, this is not good.
Yeah, but it was
residuals
cool.
For those at home are when you're doing a network show, they still have a certain contract that means you get a certain amount of money every time it runs. It goes less and less and less, but the money where it starts is really pretty high.
It was very high.
You know?
And I'd say it's weird. I just got a check for like $60 because it international. They played it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, but that's going to be more and more as the years go on because, you know, I did a show called Swedish Dicks recently that's very big in Sweden. Now it's here in America soon, and it's things are international now. Lionsgate and CBS bought the show, so you know it's very much of that. There's a world out there that is changing so much, and I feel even at this late stage in my life that in my career, what Jane Fonda calls your third act.
Yeah, you know, that's what I say.
You have the opportunity to recreate yourself if you still have the ability to let go, you know, of the wreckage of your past, which is a little hard for you.
The wreckage.
Because you and I have been in the comedy world. We have very similar careers in the sense that we've had, you know, people. I mean, how many people wanted to do series with you in the 90s? They couldn't get it off the ground.
7.
Yeah, 10. Or if you go, how many? You know how many?
I've been in. I was 6. I did 6 pilots.
Yeah, I couldn't even get anywhere to do a pilot. Mine never went to fruition anywhere. People kept trying and trying and trying. We did deals and treatments.
Not my own pilot. I've never done where I was the central character.
I had people wanting to do them, but I could never get anywhere.
It was always ensemble.
With another comedian, by myself,
right? They would put me with other comedians.
Yeah, just
that
so
they were
hard.
Also working with
Was one of them Topper Carew? Did you ever? I work with Topper too.
Yes.
He wanted to do one with
very badly and nothing.
But he had great taste.
So
you can say anything about him, but he had really great taste in terms of Martin Lawrence is the one that he
right.
Martin was his show, I believe.
Yeah, I had a spinoff. I did it was a spinoff. It didn't get picked up. Then I got
Tisha Campbell was in that.
Yep.
Who I work with on My Wife and Kids, 6 Degrees of Separation.
I did one called Faceless for Foxx. Joe Carahan, who did Smoking Aces, and they had Jim Keller, who did 24. I'm like
this is so inside baseball, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So these are all big people who were in the '90s when they were giving every comedian a series, and now it's very, very different.
Right.
So do you find that we were talking about this on the phone the other day? The comedy used to be, not that we aren't attractive guys, but there's something goofy about us.
Right.
You know, there's a
large goofy edge.
Yeah, it's something about, because when I look at myself when I was younger, I go, man, I was cute. What was I thinking? You know. But now the comedians have these incredible bodies, and they're sexy, and they're young, and they look like.
Yeah, but then you still have the other guys that.
I mean, some of them are really funny. Brett Morin. Fucking hysterical.
Right. Yeah, but
you know,
then you still have the other guys with the big beards and the flannel shirts, and
basically,
you still have the Louis C.K.'s.
Yeah, but he's our school.
Yeah, but Louis C.K.
I love Louis C. I'm so sorry about it.
All of the.
Oh man, Louis.
But yeah,
I love him. But I want to tell you, I love him as an artist more than I do as a comedian. I don't really connect to him as a comedian, though I see his brilliance in the same way that I connected to his work as a writer, actor,
director.
Yeah,
but
he's still
the two.
Yeah, but I
wouldn't say that. I don't.
He's a chubby, you know, redhead. I mean, who's half Latin and half white, and he had something to talk about.
Right.
Now I see these people that are so young. You know, we both work at the Laugh Factory a lot, and we see there's some of them that are so young and they're so pretty. It used to be the girls had to be pretty because the straight boys were in charge, but now the boys are pretty. I mean, we're not talking about good looking or attractive, but they're pretty.
Like models.
Yeah. It's like
models telling jokes.
They have soaps.
But some of them.
There aren't some good ones.
There are some good ones, but some of them aren't. Some of them are not.
It's odd, isn't it?
They don't work on the craft. They don't care about.
Or they do, but they do it in a completely different way. They'll sit and they'll tell these long stories where you and I were talking about. There's got to be. Where's the joke? Where's the joke? Where's the joke?
It got to be at least a laugh. Like I'm from the sitcom mentality where you got to get laughs.
1 a minute.
Yeah, at least.
Yeah.
At least, and so
I feel weird if there isn't.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm bombing.
Yeah.
And
stand-up wise.
And I had some my Paul Laya, who's a young comedian that I've been.
His acting he's doing pretty.
He's doing incredibly well, and his stand-up is doing nicely too. And I used to tell him, and he has no fear. He'll say, "Jason, you need to go sit on a stool and just talk like you talk to me. You're so funny, and do this other side of your stand-up." And that's sort of where I'm going and working about it. You're going to probably hate me, but I'm trying to find out, even go deeper and go to the real truth of who I am, because I feel in the same way you do. If we don't get the laughs, they're not going to ask us back.
Yeah,
that's but that's so ingrained in us.
That is true, though,
isn't it for you?
Yeah, but it's true. But I mean, like you said, the finding out who I am, going deeper. I've been doing that more off stage than I have on stage.
Yes, with friends and people and talking and stuff.
Right.
That's where it comes from, because that's where we started doing comedy. That's what made us know we were funny. So
I think that's the best way, and then bring it to the stage.
How do you do that? I have a real hard time with that sometimes.
What? Finding out?
I have tons and tons of new bits and new things, but it's very difficult to find out where it goes.
You have to shred. I call it shredding away
but where it goes
and how notions of anyone else.
How do we recreate an experience that I made you laugh? You already know me. So I don't have to. So I have to.
You don't have to get past that
exactly.
barrier.
And I always say to somebody, everything you say is funny because you're funny, and I believe that. Your job is to set up the joke so I understand where the funny came from.
But do you think that the barrier is because the world, even though the world I think is more gay tolerant, way more.
Well, that's a whole other subject matter. But I watched Dave Chappelle's special at the Comedy Store where he just sat in the belly room on a thing, and that was a total riff.
Chris Rock's was on Netflix was really good.
I mean, and I find Dave Chappelle brilliant, but also still not he doesn't speak to me.
Right.
I don't, his experience. It's like Richard Pryor. I watched the documentary on him the other day, and I thought, man, this guy's brilliant. But I say it doesn't speak to me. I mean, who speaks to? Because I wasn't a poor black kid with a mother who was a prostitute. I was a Nouveau Riche Jewish kid whose mother looked like a prostitute.
That had prostitute tendencies.
Yeah.
No, I don't. There's some people I don't relate to at all,
but I can see how brilliant they are.
Yeah. Like there's some comics I don't like.
Joan Rivers, fucking, to me, in her heyday, before she tried to just be young and compete and be shocking, she is that series is about her. The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Right. That's her. And she would turn over in her grave. The woman who plays the lead is brilliant.
Right.
Hands down. But she could not be more wrong for that part. There is no woman in 1955 or whenever in the 50s who was that beautiful with this great body and these great boobs doing stand-up. It just would never exist. Right. No one would.
To me, Joan Rivers.
It's Joan Rivers' story. It's a rich
Joan
woman
Rivers lost me though when she started doing I'm just going to try to be like
young and hip.
But
she was in her 70s and 80s.
I fucking hated that.
Yeah, but still, you can't erase her whole career.
I'm not erasing her whole career, but I just sat there going, stop.
Yeah, but everybody has that she wanted to be prolific and she wanted to be in the moment and today, and I understand that. But still, you would watch her do stand-up, and you'd see her somewhere doing it. She'd be on her stool, and someone would tape something, and she'd be doing these jokes, and she would just... If you ever saw the documentary on her...
I did.
And there was that one time when the guy in the audience, she was talking about a man that she lived with for a number of years that didn't have a leg.
Right.
And and some guy goes, how can you joke about this? I don't have a leg. She says, I dated a guy. I lived with him for years. And he said that he lost his leg. How could he lose his leg?
To me, she was great.
How can a man lose his leg?
Let me ask you this, though. I'm going to ask you. So when you see comics do that, I don't like that. Personally, I don't like it.
Yeah, but the pressure for someone
of
being that famous and having to be that prolific is really hard. You'll see a comic who does their special after 10 years, and they have this great, brilliant special, and then 2 years later they're doing another special. It's not the same. They worked on that special, for your special. Let's talk about your special. What's it called?
SHANGRY.
SHANGRY. I love it.
SHANGRY.
SHANGRY, meaning angry.
Yes.
And it's going to be on...
it's Amazon Prime.
Which is really a new thing.
Yes.
Have people done that before?
Well, Amazon Prime is second to Netflix. It's Netflix, then Amazon Prime.
Wow.
So, at least online.
Yeah, we'll see.
And then I'm going to do Vudu and
Voodoo?
It's called Voodoo. Yeah.
Oh, I thought Hulu.
No,
Voodoo. Who makes up these names?
Yeah, Voodoo, video, some whatever the fuck the acronym
Right,
is.
logo and
something, yeah.
Something.
And then and iTunes, and I'm going to do also where they have YouTube Red.
Yes.
I'm going to do that too. So
it's going to be available in a lot of places.
Online, not physical. And then I'm going to do, this is called DigiCard, where it's basically people buy a card off of you and they download it.
Right.
So I'm going to do that too.
So
instead
stream it after shows.
And stream it, after shows, because
I think it's great.
Because DVDs, I think,
are done.
And CDs are going to be done.
Oh, they're really done.
So we
can't sell a CD to save our lives.
Yeah, so that part of it. And I think that with my special, when I look back, because it took me so long to get it out, I don't...
Well, is it okay to tell the real story?
What do you mean?
You know, how your real story about this? You produced this yourself.
Yeah, I'm one of them.
You raised the money?
Money. I raised part of the money.
And do you want to say who helped you? Or
No, yeah. Adam Wasserman and Dave Goldberg.
Okay, and how did you get that? Who are they?
Dave Goldberg is...
Jewish Incorporated.
Yes, he's a producer on Gotham Comedy Live, and he saw me and was like, wow, he thought I was good, and he said that we would like to do some business with you, and I said, it just so happens I'm going to do a special. And the reason I did the special is because Russell Peters said, I can't help it. Russell Peters...
I don't want him to hit the table.
No, I'm sorry, I know, because you can hear.
Yeah.
Russell Peters told me, why am I waiting for the industry to do it? You can do it yourself now.
Oh, of course.
And he said, you can get the crew, you can get the theater. So from that standpoint, he's the one that kind of told me that you should do it. That's what motivated me. That's what made me do it. Adam Wasserman came in with big money.
He came from YouTube.
Yeah.
YouTube
that's the reason.
star.
Yeah, he basically went viral.
Both he and Dane Cook are created.
Are viral
Dane
stars.
Cook is MySpace, and he's YouTube, and then Dane Cook is Dane Cook, and Russell
Cook.
Peters is now Russell Peters.
But I mean, the special Adam Wasserman put all the money in basically because I couldn't handle it. And Dave Goldberg, the production team from Killer Bunny. So when we did it, the thing for me was I wanted to be this way. And I'm not, because I had an offer before. I had an offer from, it's called Blue Steel, which is Ed Lover's company. Remember Ed Lover? Have you ever, Ed Lover and Dr. Dre?
Uh-huh.
I don't know if you remember.
Dr. Dre, of course.
Yeah, so I had an offer from them, but they were offering me $30,000. I wouldn't own it. I wouldn't have any say. Just get up on the stage and basically play the...
Here's the money, bye. Which they used to do. There used to be a guy that used to do those comedy records who worked with Richard...
David Drozen?
Yes, and I can't believe, because I remember he asked me to do a CD, and I was so excited that somebody actually asked me, and everybody I know didn't get paid. Is that true?
No, that's not true. Yeah, I got paid.
Did you get paid?
I didn't get paid initially, but I got paid.
But did you get paid everything? No,
I got paid. Yeah.
Oh, I mean, I shouldn't say this on the show, but that's what I'd heard by so many people.
No, I got.
All this is allegedly, everybody. So
it's all allegedly.
All allegedly.
But
that's what I'd heard. And maybe, with all due respect to Dave Drozen, he was doing something old school, and now it changed.
Right.
And now, the idea that somebody just bringing in the equipment is not.
Yeah, now you can do it
exactly
easily.
Yeah, I mean, I know people who have put their CDs together from just sets around town and just edited it. Where you used to have to do, Shang Forbes live,
I did my first one at the Improv Melrose, SHANGRY, the first SHANGRY. And this one is SHANGRY live in New York and for the special. And because Chris Rock was like, yeah, man, that's a dope name. You got to use that. So I was like, well, Chris Rock said it. So,
of course.
Okay. And when I did the special, I wanted to kind of have categories of material where I was going to cover race, religion, sexism, feminism. I wanted to kind of cover it based on my one-man show I did. I did a one-man show called Isms. So I wanted to kind of have the special have that theme where there was section of material where I was going to talk about this. I was talking about police brutality. I personally am angry at the world about the fact that teachers don't get the props they deserve. So I was like, I'm going to do a bit about teachers. And I just think it was more stuff that I felt strong about. Then I said, okay, so I'm going to do that part. Then I'm going to give the goofy shit to the people that are in like Arkansas that don't have a fucking clue. And I'm gonna say to people, allegedly don't have a clue, and they just want to laugh and drink some beer and eat some muskrat stew. So I was like, so let me give them the goofy physical.
See, but that's so old school, because now people don't do it. They just say, "Fuck it, I'm me. I'm doing what I'm doing."
Yeah, but my special's 2 years old now.
Mm-hmm.
It took 2 years.
But I
was in a contract with a shitty company, and we had to get out of the contract. It took us 8 to 9 months just to get out the contract. And then once we got it,
so when in November, the fall, it's going to be
it's going to be on April 30th.
Oh, great! April 30th, everybody can get
April 30th, Shangry. And if you go to my website, iamshang.com, I put up the trailer. The trailer's up now.
Yes, I've seen it. It's fabulous.
The trailer's up on there, and I'm basically, if you don't like edgy stuff, you're not gonna like this special. I'm gonna let people know, because somebody said that to me today. Why don't you just talk about regular stuff? And because there was the
well, that's never been you.
Yeah, but the guy.
I don't even know what that means in a sense.
Regular
as an
stuff,
actor, I can play a different part, but as a comedian, this is my voice. I don't know how to do something else.
But that's what they. A guy, Orlando. I was talking to Orlando earlier this morning.
Orlando Bloom?
No, that would be nice. But I was talking to him, and he said, why do you think some of the clubs don't want to book you? Is because of what you say? Because last shows I came to see you, because I did Chicago Zanies, and literally every show was sold out. So
let's talk about that. So I had similar experiences doing clubs, doing really, really, really well.
Extremely well.
And then they didn't get what I called straight boy money.
Right.
I should maybe say white straight boy money. And I know the black comedians, in the 90s, when I was really, really headlining comedy clubs, what they did is they started, that was the first time I'd ever heard of it, is they would start getting the door, and they wouldn't even take a salary.
Right.
Some
wouldn't pay no air, no hotel.
And my black comedian friends were telling me that they couldn't get in the rooms.
That's the truth.
And that
I was lucky. I got in.
Yes.
Because I did the improv.
Well, you had come up in the ranks of mainstream stand-up comedy, right, where some of the black comedians had come up either out of Atlanta or out of Detroit,
right,
or in the Crenshaw area, and they had no
the
fan base.
Theater,
right?
Yeah.
They had no fan base out of in mainstream comedy,
right?
Whereas you and I started in that mainstream comedy, and then we branched out to our groups. They were the other way. They had started in their groups, just like there were so many openly gay comics, but they were doing, what I called the alternative rooms, and they were doing all this stuff, and I was
doing shows with them.
Yeah, so I was not in that world, and I didn't.
Why not?
I didn't even know it existed.
Oh shit! Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? I didn't. I was just trying to get Comedy Store, Laugh Factory, Improv, Ice House.
Yeah, but I used to do all the alternative rooms. I did in San Francisco, and then here I used to do shows at the Rage.
Oh yeah,
I used to do shows at the Rage. So for me, I was like,
I haven't done that in ages. I'm going to start doing, because I'm working on this new stuff. So I'm actually going to start doing all this stuff again.
I did that.
So before we get off, I want to know that how it felt by these people. When you do your show there, you do well.
Yeah, extremely well.
And you make the people laugh.
Right.
And then they'll say no, you didn't do the money. They'll say that right to your face. I remember one guy in Indiana, South Bend, said to me, I sent the posters to them, and we used to roll them up and send them in a tube.
That's what they used
to do. And I get
to
the club, and they'd be sitting in the corner, not even opened. And I said, why didn't you put these in some of the gay clubs in town, or the bookstores, or some of the places so my people will come? And he said, well, I can't go into a gay bar. What if these people look at me and want to hit on me? I said, you're 300 pounds. You're a piece of furniture. No one's going to hit on you. There was no bears then, You know what I mean? And I wonder whether it's such a birds of a feather thing. I mean, The only guy that really, there was a guy named Al Canal. Do you remember Al?
Very much so.
He just booked me and worked me and did it. He was
right now. Let me ask you this, I just did a show with, Andre Kelly?
Oh, of course.
Yes, Andre Kelly, and he said the same thing he said. He said, but he didn't want to close. He didn't want to close because he was supposed to close. And he's like, no, Shang, you're closing.
Where?
Yeah, it was a guy, Benny Mena has a place called Sage in Whittier. And it was packed. It was just beyond packed. I did it Saturday. And he said that sometimes he deals with that, where he knows he can get the gay audience to come see him, but they won't promote to that gay audience with some kind of apprehension.
Or they'll go, I don't know how to do this. I mean, how stupid is it? But all you got to do is go on the internet and find the places and drop them off. Yeah.
But I like what I would do, because I've done a lot of gay clubs, and my thing is funny. If you come on there funny and they dig you,
it's rare that a straight boy can do gay clubs. You know that, right?
Yeah. No,
you've seen them bomb.
But no, I was murdering.
But you know how it's really, really hard for them.
So no,
because that's all the way the other side. You know.
Really?
Oh yeah, because gay men are more apt to like women or drag queens or straight women.
No,
they just gay men specifically.
Yeah, but it was gay men that were booking me.
Still, you know, it's still.
And they were fine.
And Sage, this date you did was not a gay club.
No, not at all.
What was the audience?
White and Latino.
Oh wow!
And it was
Latino, great audience.
It was
almost the best. One of my favorites, because there's something about the sense of family, and once you're in, you're in.
Yeah.
And there's no judgment about it.
They come there and have a great time. And I had to go because I had another gig. The reason he ended up closing is because I had another gig. I had Flappers. I was doing Flappers, and so. But he said he deals with that. But now he's like, well, fuck it. I'm just going to do me. And whatever way it falls, it falls. And I think that that's a great way to look at it. Like, even when, like, my friends were mad at me saying, why are you doing gay clubs? I'm like, no,
mad at you?
Mad at me.
Straight boys?
Straight boys. They were mad at me saying, man, what the fuck is wrong with you? Why are you doing that? I said, one, I have great sets there. Two.
Sex?
Sets.
Oh, sets.
Sex.
Sex?
Sex?
Did I hear that right?
There's some shit. Did something break out today? No, and the crowds that are there, they loved me the last two I did, so I'm going to do more. So I did a couple shows, and they pay like I got $500. I did 20 minutes. Come on.
Where?
Last time I did Rage, I got $500 with an independent show. I remember the guy. His name is Benjamin Bong. Bongg. I don't know what the extra G's for.
I do.
And so he booked me. And he saw me at the Laugh Factory in Hollywood and said, you would kill here. And I said, well, I'm down. Whatever. So I told my friends, and my friends were like, you really gonna do this, man? Like, I don't know what, they felt like we were doing some kind of fucking intervention. Like, you really gonna do this, man?
Gotta bring you down.
Like, are you serious? I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna.
Everyone will think you're gay.
I was
because it's that easy.
Yeah, it's like, I didn't give a shit. And then when I came on stage and I did my set, and after my set, I'm talking to the guy. We hug. He gives me money. He says, hey, you should do this more. And I said, I just don't know where they're at. And he said, well, I'll tell you. And it was literally, I got like 4 gigs back to back.
Wow.
And that's how I got booked up in San Francisco. And when I did the show in San Francisco, I rocked. Like, you know when you have one of those sets where you go, wow.
Just had one the other night.
I did Factory, when you told me at the last
I hadn't had one that really felt that way. For me, not the audience, for me.
Right, where you
There's
go,
a difference.
that was a good one.
Yeah, it doesn't happen often.
And I think that, I think straight comics, this, I don't know, archaic fucking fear, I don't get it. Instead of just saying people, like, but I do that across the board, and it makes me mad sometimes because the way things are being divided by race. But
Well, there was a purpose, and now there's no longer. Now we sort of got stuck. Years ago, the reason that happened, and I believe it started with the black comedians because they were not getting this, especially at the Improv.
Right.
They were not at all.
And they still got, like, more Better Mondays. And
yeah, this whole thing. But that really helped them. But then it also, what happened is then the gay comics started doing it, the Latins started doing it,
right?
The Asians started doing it. Though I had to do a show at the Laugh Factory for years, the Asian show, and there was no Asian people in it, which I thought was so funny. But they started doing that. And then, of course, the women's shows. And now what happened is that was a way for them to give you a place to work, but you were not allowed in the mainstream. And it's still this way.
I think, I think that they're actually, they put their own stigma on themselves. I don't give a fuck about that. Mm-hmm. I'm working. I don't care if there's Eskimos in the audience. I'm going to eat some whale blubber with you, and we're going to have a fucking good time. Mm-hmm. So I never looked at it like that. So the friends that were acting like that, and I had a friend of mine that was, I think because he was so flamboyant, my friend Bobby, he died. Oh. Bobby died. He had AIDS. And so and also dated. That's crazy. I have 2 friends at that age. It's trippy.
Anybody our age does. It's impossible.
That's
not
crazy.
To.
That's
it's
crazy.
impossible
That I know
not
too.
to. And we're at the end of that tail.
Yeah, but this is like 4 years ago. We did a thing for the Minority AIDS Project up in Oakland, where they raise money for medication for people. And what's fucked up to me is that mentality, and those friends are my friends anymore because of that shit. We literally had a falling out, like on some bullshit. Mm-hmm. And that's why I was like, dude, I don't give a fuck what you think. These people are nice to me. I'm having a great time. Some of them think I'm cute.
Right, and that's where I think they.
And I was like,
lose
and what's wrong with that? And kept it moving. So my mind with that kind of shit, I could give a fuck. But I also feel that way across the board. But that's a utopian way of thinking because nobody.
Well, that's I think what makes you Shang and makes other people not understanding that part about you. Where did you get that? Because it's not a part of who. Well, maybe it is a part of your culture of who you are as a person. I don't.
My friends, you mean, or
where did you get that?
I'm Frank Collins.
Oh, shoot! Where did you get that? Where did you get that part of? Somebody just popped up on the screen.
Oh.
I'm looking stuff up about you as we talk. Where did you get that part of yourself that just didn't give a shit? Where did that come from?
You mean about people?
Yes, about what they thought about in terms of race, sexuality, religion, all the things that you talk about.
Oh, my pops. My dad, absolutely. My dad, and then I would say his kind of nonchalance about whatever. Like, that was his thing, like, whatever. And I think from a friend of mine from back in the day, Roy, a friend of mine, Roy. And he had that kind of mentality, like, yo, man, I'm human. I don't give a fuck what people think. I'm human. And he would always say that. You see, yeah, no, but you... And I would be like, no, Roy, you're black. And they go, nah. He would always say, I'm human.
Well, now I would say, they say, are you gay? I said, only on the weekends. It's too much to be gay every day.
But I think that for you, and we were talking on the phone, for you, I think that you just letting all of that shit... Because I do it too. And I'm still working on it.
Well, it's a constant.
I let all of that shit go and be the pure, like,
well, that's
whatever
what's going
your
next.
Center crystal pureness is, that positive crystal pureness is, that is what that's what people, when they say, oh, he's a star, or he has that quality, that's the shit you're going to let out all the fucking time. And sometimes I think you mute it because you go, oh, this and that. Fuck all that. You should just, like, I call it the little compartment in your chest. You should open that shit up and just let light blast out. And that's what I've decided to do, and I've noticed on stage lately.
But it's something you get into, third decade of doing this, and you don't hit where you think you're going to hit.
Right.
Though,
yeah,
you don't really know what people say about you because they don't say it necessarily to your face. Or you don't have.
What do you think people say? I know people say about you.
About you?
About you. I know what they say about you.
Oh, but I know what they say about you and how funny you are and how individual you are. And I think that people see you as a trailblazer in the sense of being, I would call you the independent comic.
Wow.
Because you're not, you haven't had anybody hold your hand.
No, I haven't.
And so there's an independentness to you. That should be your next special, the independent comic.
Well, if I get another one, gotta see how this one does. If I think this one's gonna do well. I have a lot of people online. I have a pretty strong.
I have no idea though what people think about me half the time.
I know what comics think. Absolutely funny. Period. I haven't. This is the trippy part. I haven't heard any people say, "Jason, gay." You know what I hear? Funny. Period. So that is what is the selling point.
That's what I always thought.
That is the case.
But then you have other things, age. Age is a thing.
It's ageism more than it is
gayism.
Oh,
I think so.
It is absolutely positive. Now, that is true. Because ageism, absolutely. I deal with it. You deal with it. I've had clubs go, I don't know if they'll get you. And then I get a spot there and I rip. I go, what do you mean they don't get me? This is bullshit. You really think Jay Davis' audience is your audience? No. Did you go in that audience and destroy? Yes. So they're fucking wrong.
Well, Jay Davis,
his audience is not your audience.
But I don't agree. I think his whole thing is about comedy.
Right.
These are people who he seems to have been able to bring an audience of people who actually love stand-up comedy. So it's about the laughs.
But he has a lot of rock and rollers and a lot
but I think they're
druggy people from the hills and shit.
And these really hot girls.
And so I'm telling you.
But they like comedy.
But they like
comedy. Dig it.
It's
like the musicians who want to be comedians and the comedians that want to be musicians. Right. So I don't think, I have to say, I can't say that about him.
There are audiences that you've done. Stop it. Yeah. Save that shit. You've done audiences where they're not in your wheelhouse. And you totally just brought them into your world and just smashed them. I've seen it. Mm-hmm. So that's not it. So what I think, and I'm telling you, and I'll tell you right now, and whoever's listening, I'm saying this about Jason and I don't give a fuck.
This is your interview.
Whatever. Listen, that little compartment, I even do a joke about it now. There's a compartment in people's chests where they keep holding shit in. You got to just let that shit out.
Well, that's what I'm in the process of right now.
And I think that's good. If you want it, and if you say if it's a story, like I don't care if I do a story or a bit or something. If I feel like talking about it now, and it's something like lately I've been talking about religion, and the hypocrisy of religion, because I was, I have a couple friends of mine with they're just hypocrites. And I was like, can I bring it on stage? Will I divide the crowd? I don't give a fuck. And I think that's made me funnier. I've become because
I think it too. I think we you and I are the same cloth where every time we want to go up in one of these clubs around town, we want to kill. We want to do our best stuff, and that's what we were taught to do. We weren't taught to try out new things in front of the boss. Yeah. Maybe one or two, but not And then I've seen some people go up there and try, and I think, man, and
you don't think that's liberating?
I never. It doesn't feel good to me. I like to be where I'm not seen. So when I do that, I don't like, and then I want to come back.
I've done it at the Melrose Improv, 10 o'clock, right prime time, and just like, you know what, I'm talking about this today, and it might not even be a bit that has any kind of line through it. I go, you know what, this is what I'm feeling, and then you really got to watch Chris Rock's special.
I did. I watched both of them.
Chris Rock really just was like, you know what? I'm in my 50s. That's it. I'm not trying to be a young comic. I'm not trying to be, the next young hot comic. I am who I am. I'm a divorced man going to bed with kids, and this is how it is. And I appreciate that more sometimes than people who would put on that comic facade. And I'm starting to dig that more. Like I'm becoming more myself.
Well, hopefully we're getting back more to the 60s when there was, David Brenner and Joan Rivers and Pryor and, Dick Gregory and Toady Fields.
Wow.
I don't know if you remember Toady Fields. Yeah. Nobody knows that. My favorite Toady Fields joke was when she was on the Dean Martin roast, and she comes out and she goes, "Dean, I just want you to know this. I'm not sure you remember, but I was your first wife."
See,
I love that shit.
But that if you see interviews with Toady Fields, that was kind of
Please look her up. Yeah, she was just
anybody that doesn't know.
There's so many wonderful people that we
love. If for instance, there's a couple comics that was talking about, Ellen DeGeneres has been back in comics for specials.
Really?
She backed Quincy Jones. Basically, that's how he got the special.
Quincy Jones, the producer? No.
The comedian. The guy that had cancer.
Oh, yeah. Is that his name, Quincy Jones?
His name is Quincy Jones.
The same thing? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So...
Is he still with us?
Yes.
And there's people talking about whether... I remember there were people talking about, did he really, or is it just for the special?
I think that... it might have been.
Really?
Yeah.
That would be so... What a great story.
But it worked. He got on HBO, and it wasn't a good special, but... It
really wasn't ready.
He wasn't ready at all. No, not for an hour. Maybe 10 minutes, tops.
Wow.
But I think that the other thing for you, and the other thing for me at our age, the thing that I love is Hulu is killing it. I mean, the Handmaid's Tale is... rocked it out there.
I had to put that on hold, get out of my bed, watching that, pull myself together, have some juice, and then go back and watch it again. It was just too much for me.
But it's killing it, though.
That's a great joke.
That is. You say, make sure you write that down.
Yeah.
But does that make some sense? What I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like there's a freedom with the Netflix, the Hulu. Amazon is putting like $300 million into making, stuff specifically for Amazon, and releasing it just on Amazon. So you got to look at what's going on. Marvel is actually leaving Netflix and creating their own platform through Disney. There's a lot of stuff going on, and it's all online, which opens it up to not the producer saying, well, Jason's not right.
Right.
Where it goes down to the director going, no, Jason is right.
So as I said before, your next album is called, your next special is the Independent Comedian.
The Independent.
I want to thank you for being on the show. If anybody wants to contact Shang, please go to iamshang.com. Everything Shang is there. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. I absolutely love you, brother.
I love you too.
Take care, everybody.